The next week, when I walked into Mrs. Green's office for my second session, the first thing I noticed was that something was different. The room was the same, in a surface way. The soft lamplight in the corner, the faint scent of her herbal tea, the bookshelf with its tidy rows of counseling books, and the little ceramic dish of mints on top. But my eyes were drawn immediately to the coffee table, between our chairs. The neat stack of counseling magazines she always kept there had been nudged aside, leaving space for something else. A plain brown paper shopping bag. It wasn't the glossy kind with rope handles that you get from a boutique. It was simple, folded at the top, but the sight of it there, perfectly centered in the chair across from hers, made my stomach give a small, inexplicable turn. She saw me notice and gave a knowing smile. "That's for you," she said. My hand, still curled around the strap of my backpack, tightened. "For me?" I asked, my voice a little more cautious than I meant it to be. "Go on," she encouraged, her eyes warm but intent. She nodded toward the armchair across from her. "Have a seat." I set my backpack down by the chair and lowered myself into it. My legs, as usual, splayed apart a little, elbows resting on my knees, hands dangling between them. It was how I'd always sat without thinking. Mrs. Green's gaze moved over me with quiet precision. Then she tilted her head. "All right," she said gently. "Now let's try something different." She drew her own legs together, ankles crossed neatly beneath the hem of her skirt, and motioned for me to mirror her. "Cross your legs at the ankle, not the knee, and let your knees come together. Not forced, just gathered." I shifted, bringing my feet together and crossing them at the ankles. The movement felt awkward at first, but I noticed an immediate difference in how I occupied the chair. Less braced, more contained. "Good," she murmured. "Now your hands. Instead of letting them hang, rest them lightly in your lap, one over the other. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Imagine you're settled, not braced for something." I placed my hands as she showed me. My shoulders, without me asking them to, dropped half an inch. My breathing slowed. I hadn't realized how much tension I carried in my posture until it began to ease. She smiled, satisfied. "See the difference? You're not closing yourself off, you're composing yourself." She leaned back, her eyes thoughtful. "Actually," she said, "I think we're ready for something else." She gestured toward the shopping bag. "Go ahead." The paper crinkled softly when I lifted it into my lap. Inside, folded with such care it looked like it belonged on a store display, was a blouse in a pale, soft blue. Beneath it was a simple A-line skirt, the fabric light and smooth under my fingertips. At the very bottom, nestled side by side, was a pair of black flats, their rounded toes neat, their insoles still stiff from being new. "I guessed your size," Mrs. Green said, her eyes on my face as I took them in. "We can adjust if needed." My throat tightened. "You didn't have to." "I wanted to," she interrupted, her tone gentle. "You can try them on if you'd like. The bathroom's just there." She inclined her head toward the small door off to the side. I rose with the bag in my hands, carrying it the way you carry something fragile. The bathroom was small and bright, the light bouncing off white tile that was cool beneath my shoes. I sat the clothes on the edge of the sink and began unbuttoning my shirt, my fingers clumsy with anticipation. The blouse slid over my head, cool at first before warming to my skin. It was impossibly soft, the kind of fabric you notice even when you move your arms. When I looked in the mirror, the pale blue brought a subtle change to my face, softening lines I'd never thought about before. The skirt whispered as I stepped into it, the waistband finding its place naturally, snug but not confining. Finally, I slipped my feet into the flats. They hugged my heels, their silence on the tile oddly comforting. I stood for a moment, looking into the small mirror above the sink. What I saw wasn't a stranger. It was a version of myself I'd been trying to catch in fleeting moments for years, glimpsed in store windows, imagined late at night, always half out of reach. Now, she was here, looking back at me. When I stepped out, Mrs. Green didn't laugh, didn't tilt her head with curiosity, didn't dissect me with her eyes. She simply smiled, a steady, warm smile that asked nothing from me. And in that moment, something in my chest ached in recognition. She wasn't seeing a problem to solve or a mistake to correct. She was seeing me. "Now," she said, her voice both matter-of-fact and inviting, "let's work on how you sit, how you carry your hands, how you move. You can decide if you like it. This is about you." I sat again, this time aware of the skirt settling against the backs of my legs, the blouse shifting with my breath. She guided me through the same adjustments as before, ankles crossed, knees gently together, hands resting light in my lap, but the clothes changed everything. The posture didn't feel like an imposed exercise now. It felt harmonious with what I was wearing, with how I wanted to inhabit myself. "Better," she said, voice quiet. "Notice how your breath feels now." I did. It moved through me without the catch I'd grown used to. She rose, motioning for me to join her. "Let's try walking." I stood, the flats muting my steps on the carpet. "Hands by your sides," she instructed. "Not stiff. If you were carrying something, a bag, a book, let it rest naturally. Keep your elbows soft, wrists loose. You're not guarding. You're open." I walked the length of the office. The skirt moved with me in a way that was almost conversational. Mrs. Green watched, then said, shorter steps, "Let the fabric flow. You don't need to announce yourself with every stride." On the second pass, I noticed how the movement felt. Not like marching into a room, but like arriving. We did it again, and again. Each time my body adjusted, tension leaving in small increments. Finally, she said, "Stop." I did, in the middle of the room. "How does it feel?" she asked. I looked down at myself, at the line of the skirt, the lightness of the blouse, the way the flats kept me grounded but graceful. I became aware of the quiet in the room, the absence of the old noise in my head telling me I was pretending. "It feels." I searched for the word. "Like me." Her smile widened. "Then you've learned something important." The certainty settled in my chest as I nodded. This wasn't just curiosity anymore. It wasn't an experiment I'd undo when I got home, a moment I'd pack away in a bag and hide. Standing there in that quiet office, breathing in the faint scent of Mrs. Green's tea and feeling the skirt shift with each breath, I knew this was what I wanted. Not just for today, but moving forward. Maybe for the first time, I felt permission to want more moments like this. We know that being transgender can be a difficult journey, and we want to do our part to make it a little bit easier. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to our channel. It would mean the world to us. This will help us continue to create content that is helpful and supportive for the community. Thank you again for watching, and we hope to see you next time.